What's up guys, Tommy Bowyer here from Movie Rewind, and today we will be reviewing Aquaman, starring Jason Momoa and directed by James Wan. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So Aquaman tells the story of Arthur Curry, who's half human and half Atlantean, and he has to take his rightful place as king of Atlantis when the human world comes under threat, when Atlantis declares war on the humans. Now, James Wan, who directed this movie, has directed a lot of good movies. So, going into this, I was a bit apprehensive because the latest movie in the DC Extended Universe was Justice League. And that movie was a piece of shit. So, there's a lot to talk about this movie because it's very different to a lot of the other DC movies that have come before it. There are going to be spoilers in this review, so if you haven't seen Aquaman, then I would recommend that you watch it and then come back and watch this review. So, let's talk about some things in this movie then. So probably the main thing which saves this movie from obscurity is Jason Momoa's portrayal of Aquaman. Now, Jason Momoa has a lot of artificial charm, which isn't actually a bad thing. If anything, it helps this movie because he does quite a good job. Jason Momoa is quite a good actor. And Aquaman is developed, I would say. He's much more developed than he was in Justice League. And that's another thing about this movie. This movie completely ignores what happened in Justice League. It's like it just says, yeah, Justice League didn't happen. Just get it out. Just get it out quick. Which isn't actually a bad thing, to be honest. And I think if the DCEU had movies like Aquaman to begin with, then it wouldn't be in the position where it is now, when everyone thinks it's just going to fail again and again. So Jason Momoa is one of the best things about this movie because he's a strong actor, he has a well-developed character, and he's quite funny, which isn't a bad thing at all. Another positive which I have to mention is Atlantis itself. Now, in Justice League, I keep referring back to this movie, in Justice League, Atlantis looked heavily computer generated and looked very dull, just like the rest of the movie. However, in Aquaman, what James Wan does very effectively is he makes Atlantis interesting. It's got very vibrant colours, it's quite light. There's so many interesting and unique creatures down in Atlantis, and you want to see more of this world which you haven't seen a lot of. And that's a good thing. When a movie can invest you in a strange and unique world which you've never seen before, then that is a good standing point for a good movie. Yes, there is quite a lot of CGI in this. However, it's quite good CGI. You never kind of look at it as if, oh, I can tell that's computer generated. It all looks quite unique. So, yeah, the CGI is really good in that, and the special effects are decent in this. So, well done for James Wan on his direction, because this movie is unique. And that's a good thing. That's a very positive thing. On the other hand, there are quite a few negatives in this movie. Probably the main negative which lets down so many comic book movies is an underdeveloped villain. Now, this movie has two villains. It has Ocean Master and Black Manta. Now, Ocean Master is one of the most undeveloped villains I have ever seen. And I've seen many underdeveloped villains. There's nothing interesting about him. I don't know, it's just, you're not invested in him. A villain's supposed to make you invested. It's supposed to make you challenge whether the villain is right or wrong. Kind of like what Thanos did. And with all like pollution and all of that in the oceans, they couldn't make Ocean Master a really interesting and well-developed character. However, it just falls flat. Now, Black Manta is not actually a bad villain. He's not very developed. However, he is motivated by revenge because Aquaman kills his father. Now, he's an interesting villain, and the action sequence which he is in is done really well. That action sequence, I was, on the edge of my seat. So, part of me wishes that we had seen more of Black Manta and maybe less of Ocean Master. So, while this movie does have an underdeveloped villain, it kind of makes up for it for having a second villain, which might not be very developed. However, at least he's a cool character and has an interesting design. This movie's storyline is also very stereotypical of comic book movies, which isn't a bad thing. I kind of agree with director James Wan when he says that the cheesy aspects of this film are part of its charm. And I have to say, it does kind of work in Aquaman. Because they're not really taking it too seriously, it's just a good, quite a nice little comic book movie to watch, to be honest. I think it'll go down as a guilty pleasure film. Because yes, it's cliche, yes, it's cheesy, yes, it follows so many stereotypical comic book movie tropes. However, you're just invested in it because Jason Momoa has so much charm and he makes Aquaman a very funny and well-developed character. And the action scenes are very good. This is a well-directed film. James Wan does an excellent job directing this movie. You're just invested in it. So yeah, I think that Aquaman is a little guilty pleasure for me because it might be cheesy. However, it's fun and enjoyable, which is sometimes what movies should be. In summary, Aquaman is a stereotypical comic book movie littered with so many cliches I could hardly count them all. However, carried by Jason Momoa, the movie becomes an entertaining guilty pleasure with fun action scenes and brilliant direction by James Wan. And that is why Aquaman gets a 6 out of 10. I will definitely be purchasing this movie on Blu-ray when it is released, and it will always remain a guilty pleasure of mine to watch. So thanks for watching, guys. I really do hope that you enjoyed my Aquaman movie review. Please remember to like, comment and subscribe in order to receive great and maybe even improved content in the future. And if you want to know what I think of what the DCEU could do to save itself, please check out a discussion video I'm doing with my good friend Matthew Cholerton. It should be up in a couple of weeks, so I hope you guys support that. So I will see you in another one. See ya!